for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Go through the agenda. Is there any additions, corrections, or deletions? Dave? Okay, we'll add that to the agenda.
There are no more additions. I'll make a...
I want to make a change and want to move payables up to first.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, with
With
that.
those changes, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, got a motion, we need a second.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. With that, we'll move down to the minutes from last week's board meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review those?
I thought the minutes read well. That was Sandy or anybody else can make a motion to accept it.
Second that. Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. With that, we will go to item number 1, and that's to approve the payables.
I do have one to add. Found out that postage is going up, so we're gonna order some more postage. We mailed out over 1,600 absentee ballot requests, so stock up on some more postage. So that's just the claim for that.
Not a questionable payment, but I do want to know that Rolling Hills payment is being made this quarter, or this pay period.
Yeah.
122,000?
Yeah, page 6.
Yeah.
Towards the bottom there.
Do we have I saw one for the jail for shoes. I didn't realize that we had a shoe allowance for the jailers, do we? Is that correct or
I'd
not?
have to look at their union contract. I don't know.
I didn't think that we did. I saw a jail shoes.
Let me go grab it quick and
Grab that one
find
quick.
out.
I don't know. It was, I know we have, there it is, page 3 towards the bottom. Looks like a pair of shoes.
Well, I wondered, it could be those little croc things they make everybody wear too. Could just been a whole bunch of those and just said shoes.
Could be. I didn't have the pulled. I
Also noticed there was a quite high medical bill there too.
$2,000
for
one.
the pharmacy.
Yeah, for an inmate. One inmate.
Yeah.
Maybe you should pull the bill. Maybe it's for, Rich thought it could be for a bunch of shoes.
Inmates.
Hmm.
Those little croc things that they wear, you know. They all look alike.
Okay, so that, under Article 14, it talks about clothing and equipment. Employers shall provide employees with uniforms and equipment as specified by the sheriff. Deputies and jailers will be allowed $200 per year to be used for cleaning. Deputies will be allowed $300 per year, and jailers $200 per year for replacement of their uniforms, which includes boots or shoes.
So it is
Fine,
fine.
it's covered then. Either way.
Either way.
Okay. I didn't think it was in there. If it is, it is.
Okay.
I'll make that up.
Motion to approve the claims.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second to approve the claims. Any other discussion? If not, call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, with that, we'll go down to the second item on the agenda, is secondary roads. Dave, morning.
Morning, everyone. We got snow.
Get some salt down today.
It melt by the end of the day.
Wow,
Shocker.
It was, I'm glad it didn't stick.
Tell that sign, man, it's stuck to the north side of the pole, that means it's the last snow.
Yeah, that's what they always say, isn't it? I agree.
We've got some maps there that show our current gravel pits and some old ones too. Here's some proposals, one from Hallett's and two from Stratford. Everybody's ready, I'd maybe start yakking. First proposal on top is from Hallett's. You can see their pit up by Wall Lake. They're proposing to supply us 40,000 tons to process it this coming spring in 2019. We'd be billed as it went over the scale, so we wouldn't be billed for a stockpile like we would with Stratford. We'd pay as we go. It also Lotus, which going by our last contract, gravel is roughly a 40-cent value to do that. They've went up in price from $6.30 to $7.25 a ton. I suspect if you took that 40-cent loading off, that would be a more comparable price. It is our coarsest and cleanest gravel in a natural state. And I think it's been performing pretty well from what I've seen. We wind up hauling a lot of that gravel into our stockpile site at Carroll, and we'll probably haul to Templeton too. With the loader there, it's very convenient to go up during winter days when you get a lousy day that you can't do much anything else on the road. You can send the fleet up there and you can haul gravel and put it in the stockpile if it's not fit to put it on the road. So it does open up some pretty good opportunities that way. We've got a little bit of our allocation left. I'm not really quite sure. It's over 10,000 tons of the $6.30 stuff that we can work on hauling out this winter. But we won't have any new stuff made until spring. Usually they're a bit late with that. They have quite a bit of gravel to make in one plant to do it.
Yeah, because this spring they didn't start, they started real late.
They started real late, yeah. I'm hopeful that they'll start earlier. I'm glad we have some on hand there yet from our prior allocation.
You say you got about 10,000 ton up there?
I think we've got more than that, Gene, but I'm pretty confident that we've got 10. We paid for 3 this time that we hauled out. I think we had 16, and that'd get us down to roughly 13. I'll just keep going with proposal by proposal, I guess. The next one is Stratford at Sparks Pit. They're assuming that this will be the last time they can process at Sparks with what they have there and what they know. They're unsure of a quantity. Last time they put up 2 piles. I think we put up maybe 25,000 tons in our pile, and we blended 10% limestone with it. Stratford, when it comes to raising their price, they use an average price from, I got it written down here. I'm not finding it. It's a consumer price index that they, construction consumer price index that they use, and they apply it to that. So that's how they come up with their increases, and it's a pretty good way, in my opinion. At least it's got some backing behind it. They were $6.55 the last time we processed there, or 10% add. With the 10% add, 10, 20, whatever percent they add, they bring in clean limestone that's from 2 to 3 inches in diameter, and then they recrush that. And so they're not bringing in a lot of fines or whatever. We do get some fines out of the crushing process, but it's mostly coarse aggregate that goes in there. That clean limestone, I think, at their pit's $9.50. I think it's roughly $22 by the time it gets down here and is put in. We were pleased with the 10% added limestone and think it did some good. I took a ride down there the other day after some drizzly rains, and I was happy with the performance. I'm not sure we can attest it all to that, but it wasn't sloppy like it has been in the past. Audubon County, I talked to them, they did a 25% blend the last time they did. It sounds like the public is really pleased with that. They see it, they took it in and had limestone 100%, and they substituted this, and hasn't been getting any complaints on it, so he's pretty pleased. I'm recommending that we go with the 10% down there. We do it. I don't know what the quantity would be. The last page is the Reinhardt pit.
Okay, back up to Sparks. Are we the only one getting stuff out of there this year?
No, Audubon's gonna get some again.
So are they gonna just make 2 piles and half?
Yeah.
So what if they run short? You get shorted. Is that your question, Gene?
Well, I just wondering how they're doing it.
I don't know. How
So you're not gonna know any time on it?
No,
How many tons did we have in the last stockpile that you draw?
I think 25 already, but
I see their footnote there, not guaranteeing any particular quantity. They're having trouble telling what's left there, apparently.
Yeah, because they're basically going to go up.
And my question is, if Audubon County and we both bid, or both have piles, and they end up short, which they could, do we get prorated shortage, or do they get shorted? Do we get shorted? Where does the shortage get factored in?
I would imagine they would prorate it. They treat us fairly.
Okay, probably a good question to ask them anyhow.
I think there's,
I mean, maybe Audubon's had their bid in 3 months ago and they got first place on us. I don't know, I'm just guessing.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Probably one of those we want to bid a little bit less. So we can, we don't get shorted.
It's kind of a tough one. I
Yeah.
suppose we could say we could take it all.
Mitch meant that way.
I don't know, the greed comes out in me.
Well, I mean, it's, I don't know, it's one that we want to fight over.
No,
It's not, that's the worst quality of that.
I think like Neil said, I think I need to call up Monica Stratford and say, we just need to work this out, or maybe call up Mitch, the Ogden County engineer, maybe split it equally unless they're interested in some really small volume. I think they got a little less than us last time, but they had a little more expensive material,
Bigger, higher blend.
Yeah, with a higher blend, because they were in a 25% blend last time. Which kind of makes sense, they've got a lot of additional haul on that, where they're taking it.
Yeah, if you're hauling a lot more distance, a lot of investment is the haul, you want to have a higher quality product.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Last one's Reiner. I think we could, last time we put 100,000 tons up there at 475, it's went to 496 for gravel only, or 675 for 10% limestone combination. I'm not sure with Reiner that we need to do that. It comes in, if you look at the gradations on Reinhard and Hallett, it comes in as kind of middle of the road coarseness wise. This is a case to where this is the Hallett, the blue. This is the Reinhardt, the orange. And this is the Sparks with the 10% added. A lot of this shows the fineness at the lower end. Hallett's only has 1.3% passing what we call the number 200 sieve, so it has very little dirt in it. Reinhardt's kind of right in the middle of that, and Sparks is up around 8% for an average. At any rate, I'm pretty satisfied with what we've been getting out of Reinhardt's, and Hallett's don't think we need to add the limestone. So
On that day where Stratford review, I were up there this spring earlier, they were talking about putting that culvert through the road to drain some of that water so they can get at the, have you
We've
discussed
talked
that?
about that. We're gonna sell them a culvert. They're gonna put it in. We'll help them locate it and whatnot, but they'll put it in at their expense. And,
Kind of lower the water level there a little bit.
lower the water level there, so it,
So they're gonna have to take a pontoon in to get it.
yeah. It's been a little bit of an unusual year, but I think it still needs to be done, and they're willing to do that.
Water locked. Locked in the water.
Yeah. I don't think we've got even 20,000 left. I think we're in the neighborhood of 10,000 out of our 100, so we've hauled 90,000 out of that. But as you recall, we did contract gravel there, and there was a pretty good chunk of that was contract, and then our own trucks hauled quite a bit out too. And we went further south into it. When Sparks is exhausted, I believe there's another location down in that area, though I'm not at liberty to say where it is at this point in time. But if you're interested, talk to me. I think there may be another location in the south that we can do.
How much were you
gravel.
thinking about getting out of Sparks?
I was thinking going 25 if we could.
Will the quality be a little bit less, means they're getting the end of the situation with the end of gravel there or not?
It's possible that it would be.
lesser quality, I mean.
Yeah, it could be a little finer. The reason they're not proposing to take the other portion of it, it's pretty sandy. So they're going in an area to where it's relatively coarse, actually where our stockpile is located now.
East side.
And so there's always that chance.
Just go south there, it gets sandier.
Yeah.
So you don't think, if the quality is gonna get a little less, you don't think we should maybe consider moving up to 15% instead of 10%?
I think that'd be probably a good idea.
That way we could kinda guarantee we get a little bit better.
Offset it a little bit.
Yeah.
Talking about $25,000 difference. Well, over $1 difference, $1.
Well, it needs to have some core stuff in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at 10, that's why I say I'm wondering if we maybe should go to that 15 blend for extra 25,000. That way we guarantee we'll at least get a little bit better quality out of that down on the tail end of it.
I sure wouldn't argue with that philosophy.
Don't you said, you said here a while back, we cleaned out one at the bottom, and that seems to be more coarser, is that too?
With that particular pit, and
Oh,
that was,
that particular pit.
that was a pit that was in water. This is a little bit different deposit. It's,
Okay.
that was one that would have, that they had to pump to get at it.
Well, I agree with you, that things can get lesser quality, that's exactly.
Well, I mean, if we're getting towards the tail end, that can happen to you pretty easily. Means you can get a little, at least we're kind of hedging our bet just a little bit there. When it's $25,000, though, I mean, it's.
Yeah, I putting the good material down or the dump is going to be a good thing.
Where we put limestone, I've gotten a lot of good comments about that.
Yeah.
People really like that. On the intersections and,
Yeah. Hopefully we're using the best judgment we can to put it, and it seems to me that the guys are really doing a good job putting it in areas
Well,
where it's.
those roads where you spread on different, limestone and gravel on top of it or whatever. Those roads are holding up pretty good.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And a lot of that sparks, I mean, you haul that down around the Dedham area and you get more clay as you get down in there and it makes that line rock, you get a better base.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know that soil's a little, not quite as good, a little rougher to it.
The stockpile from the rain, you can see when it got wet, it just kind of moved down the face of it, sloughed, that's the right, and you don't see that with cleaner material or that non-Pleasant Valley type gravel.
Watch it.
But it's better than no gravel at all.
Yeah.
People might argue.
Sometimes that argument.
Yeah.
Can't argue that too loud.
Location things.
What is your suggested or wished tonnage for the Sparks and the Reinhardt pit? I see a ton isn't in there.
I would think 25 at Sparks. I bet Audubon would be kind of be in that neck of the woods with theirs, maybe.
That's a 15%
At
blend.
the 15% blend.
I'd agree with that one.
And maybe 75 to 100 with Reinhardt.
And that which blend?
No, just straight gravel.
Just straight gravel.
Oh, 75 to 100,000.
To 100,000 ton, yeah. We did 100 last time. I'm kind of curious to see how the draining of the pond is going to work and all of that. But our neighbor, I think, did 50 and 25, so they're out there too. I think there's maybe 800,000 in the deposit, so it may go faster than what we think.
You're still thinking 40 at Lakeview then too?
Yeah, that might be a little going overboard, but that could be more like a 2-year supply, just depending. There's one other pit that could open up, that Kate's Lukow area up there. That Lukow is where we got that gravel where Gene was talking off the bottom of that. That is on the north side of the road. There's a deposit on the south side of the road too. And it's the landowner's name. And they're in negotiations with the landowner. I think I mentioned that I might be interested, and I think Ida County and Sac County are also interested in processing some up there. If that works out, I would probably bring that proposal to you somewhere maybe in the neighborhood of 20,000 tons, kind of as a backup one in case we run out or we don't get it processed at another location.
How many tons did you take from the Reinhardt pit?
75 to 100,000.
Wow.
Wow.
I had 20.
So Dave, I had a conversation this last week with an individual that lived on the gravel road. Said, the maintainer comes by and just throws that gravel right in the ditch. And I says, well, some of that may be true. We buy gravel every year. I mean, so where does the gravel go? That's a pretty good question, isn't it? I mean, we buy gravel every year. Where does it go? Does it go in the ditch?
Some of it does, yeah. Some of it goes up in the air, and dust.
With the wet snow, it probably goes in the ditch, you know, very sitting on top. Some of that does go in the ditch.
Traffic throws it.
Pardon?
Traffic's gonna throw some of
Sun
that.
just keeps beating it down in the base.
Yeah.
It goes a lot of places. It goes.
You'd think by now we'd have a base, a foot.
Yeah, you'd think you'd have a lot of gravel out there by now after putting 100,000, over 100,000 ton out,
Yeah.
right?
But I think
Not a
most-
unique problem in Carroll County, it's statewide, they're putting gravel on every.
I know, I understand that, but, you know, I mean, it's
it does make
kind of a
you wonder.
legitimate question, you know? I mean, really, where does it go?
A lot of places.
Limestone really gets ground up and lined up in dust. And that's one of the things about the limestone. We're going to have to continue doing what we're doing, adding to that. You know, we won't be able to lay back. And we've been buying about 20,000 tons of that here. Last price we paid was $15.64 for it hauled in. And I would intend on doing that again this year to have a winter quotation and quote our local vendors. I hope we can do it because I think it is making a difference.
Maybe more expensive, I'll turn and do the next fall pavement. That's all, but that gets more expensive and there's maintenance to that also.
Yeah, and that's more expensive too. It just doesn't seem like it.
Yeah.
Do they have any timeline when they'll find out for sure or not on this new Kate's location up by Luco Pit?
I think we're pretty close to finding out on that, yeah.
Will it affect the tonnage you buy from Hallett's? I mean, they're kind of competitive sources a little bit. They're a few miles apart, but they're both on the northern end of north of Carroll County.
I think we do the same amount with Alice, and if we don't use out of that case for a year or so, it would be there to,
Or just a little bit off.
when we need it.
The Hallett's is 40,000 ton, and it's, as it's put in the pile, or do they crush it as we need it, or what are they, how do?
Crushed, there's
Are we
kind of
gonna
this
get it going?
community pile, it's like Crawford usually gets 70,000 tons out of Hallett's. So there's the
Okay.
commercial, and there's the Crawford, and there's us, and this gigantic pile. And we have an allocation, we kind of work off that allocation.
Okay.
And once it's gone, we renegotiate the price.
So, I don't understand exactly, you said they're gonna bill us as it's put in the pile, or?
No, they'll bill us as we haul it out.
So.
Every load runs over the scale.
So, what's our timeline for that? Do we have to have it used up? If we buy 40,000, do we have 2 years to use it, or a year to use it, or what?
I think we've got probably better than a year to use it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm just curious, if we're gonna get a bill for 40,000 ton all of a sudden, or if we're gonna get it as we haul it out, it's a lot more.
I guess whoever wants to do the talking, I'll do
We can
it.
look in today's bills.
So if we buy,
I just
we're
want to
getting a lot of smaller bills, like every month as we haul that.
Yeah, we paid like 20,000 this month for.
I saw we had a health bill, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we
that's-
haul that this month.
That's great, especially if it's there, but then if it's not there,
Yeah.
we need it back up.
That pit that they were working on in Green County, did it ever materialize? You took us over one day.
It did, and I think they're getting gravel out of it, that Thorpe pit.
It wasn't Thorpe, it was,
Murphy.
oh, maybe it was Thorpe.
We called it maybe
It
Murphy.
was north of 30.
Yeah,
Yeah, over in Green County.
Oh, what kind of quality is that?
I think it was pretty good. I'm not sure if it's played out now, but I think in the end it was pretty good. We do have some gravel left at towing that we haven't used either, so we'll be in pretty good shape once they get this all processed.
Tons of gravel disappears. You can do it again next year.
Yeah, our annual gravel use is probably in the range of 100 to 130, just depending
On the year.
on the year. And we do contract gravel if we have trucks haul for us.
You want these in separate motions, or?
However you're comfortable.
So they should be separate.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the one for the Hallett at 40,000 tons at 7.25.
I'll second that.
Got a motion on the floor, and a second. Any other discussions? Now, call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That will go to the Sparks pit.
Now, with Sparks, with the 15%, could we put a limit on the bottom end of that of 25, say there is more with this last processing? Say there's enough for us to get 30 out of there,
Oh.
35.
Okay. Guess I'd make that motion then to, out of the Sparks pit, to take 25,000 minimum and 30,000 maximum at the 15% blend.
Okay.
Got a motion on the floor. We need a second.
Second that.
Got a motion and a second for the Sparks pit to take 25 to 30,000 at the 750 with the 15% blend. Any other discussion?
798, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or
750, so 798.
798.
That's what it's at.
Yeah, that's what I said.
798. A motion and a second. Any other discussion? Not, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay, with that, then we'll go to the Reinhardt pit.
And what are you thinking there, Dave, 100,000?
Yeah, I think,
If you wanna go up the full 100.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to purchase 100,000 ton of gravel from the Reinhardt pit at $4.96 a ton.
Motion and a second.
Second.
Okay.
Second.
A motion and a second for the Reinhardt pit for the 100,000 ton at $4.96. Any other discussion? Now we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Go down next to the utility permit.
got a utility permit from Western Iowa Power Cooperative to do a primary underground cable bore on 280th Street between sections 3 of Ewald and 34 of Washington.
The river goes through the Mitch to Machina. Yeah, have to go for that, I think.
A little hard to see. It's 1,900 and some odd feet from Delta Avenue. Okay.
They're just simply moving it overhead to burying it.
I think that's what they're
Yeah.
doing, yeah.
This is the road. Is that Holden Place?
First place used to be,
Oh, okay. Okay.
and Darrell Roy owns it now.
Yeah, yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about. Okay, yeah.
Look at it.
Just go punching underneath the road, getting rid of the overhead, going to the farm place up like.
Yeah, that's what I would guess.
I'll make a motion to approve the utility permit.
Got a motion on the floor, we need a second?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, any other discussion? Not, call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Probably noticed we paid for a couple of box culverts. We got those in, the third one's in. Also, I had a couple of pictures of that site if I brought it with me. There was a structure that they took out of there.
Whoa.
It pretty well had it.
They obviously beat it up, taking it out too.
They did, yeah. They had a big hole in the bottom of it. It was pushed up, it was one of those big arch metal pipes. There's the hole was a little bit wet. There were a lot of
This
tiles
was,
coming out.
this one's over by East of Willie. Not this one?
No, this one's over by Ricky's, by Kevin
Yeah.
Oh,
Ricky's.
okay, by Arcadia.
South of Arcadia,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I know that place.
I would say the whole
There's two bridges real close to that, aren't
The
there?
whole little wet.
Yeah, I'd say
Two
so.
bridges real close to that.
Yeah.
I think that we just did one in November
It's
3 years ago.
season right now.
That Cement bridge.
Haven't heard anything from the asphalters, last week wasn't too good on,
26 degrees this morning, Dave.
yeah.
Is that gonna start impacting whether they actually do it or not?
Good. They'd have time to do it. Our desire, if we could talk them out of it, would probably be to talk them out of it or do the bottom end, do the intersection, the shoulders, and maybe, save the top
Step
end.
from spring.
Yeah, save the rest for spring. I don't think we'll get any pushback from the DOT on it.
Yeah, that'd be the biggest thing, I suppose.
Just have to wait and see. Maybe we'll get a really nice fall.
Like last year.
Uh-huh.
That'd be good.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Dave. Anything else, Howard? Okay. Do we want to get a hold of Carrie for the next
Or
one?
Dean said he could talk about it
Okay.
too.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Well, she kind of wanted to be called.
Did she?
wanted
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
oh, that's fine.
All right, I'll have Joanne get hold of her.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. Just jump down to number 4, we've got 2 plats. Packet. Put those quick for Russia 4-8.
I looked them up, they're pretty straightforward.
They're getting hold of her.
Jump down to
Make a
plats.
motion to approve the plats.
Okay. Will you have a motion to approve the 2 plats?
I'll second that for Lance and Myers.
Yeah, Carl Myers, okay. A motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Just with that, we can jump down to manure management plans too. We just have 2 of them today. One is in section 11 of Grant Township, and that's just an original plan update. And the second one is in section 26 of Eden Township, and that one, they have changed their crop rotation. So that's it for the manure management plans. Pass those down, we'll each file those. Looks, those are gonna get smaller. This was already on committee reports over. She's on her way up.
I don't see, oh, yeah.
There she is, she's over this week. Morning, Gary.
You ready for me?
That, we'll go down to the Mount Carmel wastewater system discussion.
Morning.
Morning.
Gary. That, go ahead, Terry, do you have anything you want to add as far as that one?
Oh, good. Yeah.
I was gonna say, you already talked about it. Well, I've talked to Castor Bauer Service. They've got 3 of the 4 homes fixed. Dean was up there, so he's kind of got a good idea of what they've done.
Joe said the other day.
The one house ended up not being as big of a dig
Project.
as we thought it might be, so that was good. Got her fixed, got Benami's fixed, eliminated that old septic tank that was hooked up to their shed.
You know, I thought that'd be all tore up, that isn't tore up all
No,
that
not
bad.
bad at all. After they've said
I mean,
it.
there's-
Well, they
there's-
did, they tore it up, but I mean, they really,
They fixed it up.
they fixed it up
But
nice.
it's
and-
settling up, I see.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Sloss up on the top of the hill.
And I went over that with
figured
you
out.
guys. I showed you the pictures and,
That's the one I think you were gonna discuss today
Right.
specifically.
yeah.
Because of the way the perimeter tile and the sewer was leaving the house, they felt it best to put a sump pump pit on the outside of the house rather than the inside of the house. The neighbors to the south are actually their in-laws. Gave them a sump pump that they had, a spare, to get through the rain we had last week. So the question was, I got a call from the mother-in-law saying, well, since we put it on the outside of the house, is the county going to be responsible for it? That was what we talked about years ago, that if we did something on the outside, the county was going to take care of it. In this particular case, I've discussed it with Dean, so we're discussing it with the rest of you on how you want to handle this outside sump pump. My personal feeling is that we don't want to be responsible for groundwater. We want to be responsible for sewer water, but not necessarily groundwater. So it was discussed, I talked about it with Dean, that the county would pay for the work that was done, and the county would supply the first sump pump, and then after that, it would be the responsibility of the property owner from here on out. It's totally up to you guys on how you want to handle it. When I talked to mother-in-law, she thought that was reasonable and did not have an issue with that. I never heard from SLOSS. They never called me and said anything one way or the other. So I think you all just need to decide on how you want to handle this case. And if we ever have something like this come up again, I don't want to be doing something different for these people and not for these people. We want to, try to treat everybody fairly.
Let me put this in. We are doing this because of only one reason. We want to stop the infiltration of groundwater in our sewer system.
That's right.
So if someone else has got an issue that's a groundwater issue, it doesn't mean we're going to correct it for them if it has no effect on our sewer system.
Correct.
I
Well,
think that needs to be noted.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, if they've got groundwater issues of their own, that's not affecting the system, then that's their issue.
yes.
And not ours.
But we also need to do a case by case, because now you're going to go back to the neighbor 2 houses down who have a sump pump running into their system. And it has nothing to do with a perimeter tile. They're doing it intentionally. And they are affecting these systems.
But that groundwater is affecting the system though.
That's right.
Yes, so there is an issue there.
There is an
Yeah.
issue there, absolutely. But I do not feel in that case the county should be responsible for paying for them to take something off that we have asked them to already remove and more than likely could be done fairly easily, but they just refuse to do it.
Right. I mean, that's just a simple plumbing issue,
Right.
taking it from the sump pump in the inside of the house and
So-
taking it outside.
Case by case, but trying to be fair
Mhm.
on how we deal with it.
And I think
for every
case by case is pretty important, because
Mm-hmm.
this situation with the sloths, if we could have tied it into the old system, we would have done that, and then it would all be gravity, but that was blocked, and so we could not do that. The simplest and the cheapest way to handle the situation was to put the external sump pump.
So they're draining on top of the ground right now?
Mhm.
They could.
Well, if they want to go through another process, that's fine, but it has to be at their expense.
It's not a problem that's being put on the ground, top of the ground, is it? It's away from houses.
No, I don't think so. I don't,
We've got good
the
drainage.
neighbors, I think the neighbor to the,
I'm not sure exactly where they have it discharging, but.
yeah, I don't think they're the only ones in town that are doing it that way. to be
No,
honest with
probably
you.
not, but I mean, if we're having issues to the east, I think that by just dumping it on the ground, it may not alleviate some of them problems down there, but I don't know how else you do it, but I thought spend a lot of money. I'm not in favor of doing that.
Well, the discharge point could be moved if we find that it's causing issues
Yeah.
later.
Well, yeah, the way the lawn, the backyard lays, it's going to the southeast. So it's going, like basically away from the,
The one house that's right over north. that's-
yeah. So that water's actually going away from that house.
I guess if that becomes an issue, we'll
Address it.
evaluate it, but I guess for
I don't
right-
think we want to be married to these situations like this.
The
so that if-
groundwater issues, no.
And,
I think too that this is, if we buy the pump, that's where we draw a line. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's their responsibility.
yeah. And if something happens to the pump and they get water in their basement after this, it's their issue and not ours. Some kid pulls the cord.
Yeah, I do not want to be sending Casper service up at 9 o'clock at night because a sump pump or groundwater has stopped
Yeah.
working. That's not
We're not
what
doing
we're
that.
paying him to do.
No.
No,
So,
there'd be no end to it otherwise.
So I will make an issue, or make a point, make a motion to look at groundwater issues case by case in the Mount Carmel system, and to do the appropriate and least expensive option to expedite the situation.
And when you say groundwater, you're talking about groundwater that affects our treatment.
Groundwater that affects the,
Sewer
yeah.
system.
Yeah, that affects the Mount Carmel sewer system. In this case, it would be, I don't know if you want to be that specific or not. In this case, it means providing a sump pump to the Sloth household, and after it's purchased, it's their responsibility. It's a pretty lengthy motion, but
God, I'm recording this.
You want Courtney to read that back to you?
No, I'm gonna have to listen to it, but overall, he's saying that if each situation where the groundwater's affecting the system will be looked at case-by-case basis. The appropriate and least expensive option will be taken in this situation. The county will pay for the sump pump on this property, and after that, it'll be the homeowner's responsibility.
correct.
Sounds good. Okay, got a motion on the floor. Need a second?
Trying to word that. I know what you mean, Dean.
Mhm.
I know what you mean. I don't know if it's worded the way I want it worded, or the best way it should be in the minutes. One thing, so be clear in the minutes when we read them a year from now, too.
You want to reread just what you said? I thought you did a very good
I'm not
job.
gonna say it the same way I said it the first time.
I think you're taking the right approach, but go ahead.
So it, in future cases, it'll be looked at on a case-by-case basis when groundwater is affecting the system in Mount Carmel, and the appropriate and least expensive option will be considered or will be approved. Will be reviewed.
Maybe-
I don't know,
maybe
because I'm
she
sure you
should say
guys are gonna look at all
considered.
those.
I would say be approved, maybe
Considered, yeah.
Considered,
yeah,
okay.
That makes more sense.
And then, in this instance, and I don't know if we would need to list the property address or the homeowner, but the county will provide the sump pump and the work. And after that, it'll be the homeowner's responsibility to maintain.
Do you have an address on this facility?
Mm.
Let's choose the address.
Yeah, that's right. That's specify.
Maybe we could have a motion that states exactly what we're going to do, at what location and who and why, and then have a statement that future situations will be looked at a case-by-case basis. And the groundwater needs, future cases will look at individually where groundwater affects our system. I don't know, I think that'd be more clear.
So
It'd be-
you want two separate?
It'd be a motion stating exactly what we're doing, what we approve of doing, and I don't think you'll have any trouble getting that approved. And then there'll be a statement in the minutes saying that we'll look at each one,
On a case-by-case
case by
basis.
cases, if the
Yeah, I'm all
groundwater
right with
affects.
that.
Is that okay?
Mhm.
I think it's a little more clear.
Just amend it to
But-
that.
Yeah.
So do
You know, these minutes will last a long time, so I want them to be
Yeah.
clear. So maybe I'm making
That's the address.
too big a deal out of it.
13934. 13934 Jewel Avenue.
Is that two L's? Is that two L's? in Jewel?
1L, Jewel.
So then,
you're amending it to
Mhm.
that?
Yep.
so then the motion is to approve installing a sump pump at 13934 Jewel Avenue. And then,
Shouldn't be any installation, I'll just drop a pump in it.
Yeah, basically just give them the pump.
With future expenses at the homeowner's
Okay.
expense.
Do we need to specify on the cost of the pump? Those things do vary in range of prices.
I contacted Kevin Kasserbauer a week or so ago. And I didn't hear back from him. He said that he would look into the pump, getting one, but I didn't get a price from him.
Let's put it this way, why don't they have, you approve the price of the pump?
Do you have a limit?
Well, I mean, you got an idea, so I don't want to go out and buy some Cadillac.
Well, no. And I'd offered to,
I mean, I want to buy a good one, but I don't want to buy,
yeah.
then you can go out and buy ones with battery backup and all that, and I don't think that's not our intent.
No. You can call him back and
Yeah.
find out what he,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
so then with Carrie approving the final
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 cost, yeah.
price or final
All right.
cost.
That's fine.
you don't want to give me a price limit.
Under what?
I don't really price pumps, so I really don't know what the cheapest versus the Cadillac.
Would it be under 500?
Oh, it should be.
Oh, yeah.
200?
Should be able to get one under $200.
Yeah. We'll let you use your judgment there.
But I know you can get those ones with this backup.
We can criticize you no matter what you do, right?
I know. Either way, double-edged
What's
sword.
that? I have faith
Backup
in you.
pumps, and then they get expensive.
Thank you.
You can.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I would just have Kevin recommend one.
Okay.
Then it'll be a good one, and I think it'll be,
Okay, we got a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion regarding this issue?
Who had the second?
I did.
Okay, if there's no other discussion, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thanks, Carrie.
Thank you.
thanks, Gary.
$550 to $160.
Yeah.
That's a big window.
$200.
The big one will spend $250, $300. 550 is still not a battery.
Okay.
$1,000 if you get one in that area.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to, pay for it.
Okay, with that, we'll go down to item number 6, is community reports. Rich, you want to start out?
Yeah, last Tuesday, we had an ambulance meeting. They had quite a discussion on a policy versus a procedure. And I did get an email from Carroll later that the state has made it a procedure and it can't not be debated with them. We're trying to maybe move something to the handbook, and they're visiting with Renee about that. And personal liability of the vehicle, that seems to be a big concern. I guess I don't know. I understand what they're saying, but we're talking about a volunteer on their way to an ambulance call and has an accident. That's been the classic old argument for years and years and years. To me, that's your own personal liability, your own personal vehicle, and that's where where we left it. That's kind of the consensus of the board too. They weren't going to pursue it any further. So, also the tourniquet kits that we just received.
Stop the bleed.
Stop the bleed. We need to check them and see if there's any blood coagulants in them. If there is, they need to be removed. One
I don't know where you
theory.
got them here.
One theory was you put this on, it helps clot the blood. The surgeons here in Carroll are requesting that we remove it because it's making them a large problem on wounds from time to time. It can. So, and I have to respect their opinion of it. They're a lot sharper at it than the rest of us. That's about it for the ambulance board. Then on Thursday, Wednesday night, I went to the candidate forum, and I think all of us were there. And on Thursday, we had Region 12. I got there a little early, and I sat in on the executive board meeting, just because I think the review of Rick was coming up, and that was kind of entertaining conversation. And I think he's glad I don't vote on it. So, then we had the Council of Government meeting, and the reserves, a very large number, but I think they have some expenditures proposed there, so that was good. I think like they're in pretty good shape. We went through an insurance renewal. They had a 10% increase in their health insurance, which is duly noted, because ours has been down, but I have a feeling that could have been a small window, so we may be looking at a larger change then too. The prisoner-built housing conversation, it was very interesting to me. I think that's a very good thing some of the prisoners are picking up trades while they're there. They're accomplishing quite a little bit. It looks like they should be able to deliver some low-income housing in places because their cost is just minute because their labor's free. So that was very interesting, and that's kind of proceeding on to the legislature, I think, as they're waiting on maybe a $2 million upstart to get that going so they can get it. They can build smaller ones now, but they'd like to go into like a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. So found that very, very interesting. They went through the conversation of the micro purchases and small purchases difference, and they put a dollar amount on that, and that was very wise. I think that was a very good idea. Things have gotten so expensive that these micro purchases should be under $10,000, and I agreed with that. I like that idea. Then there was also quite a bit of discussion, not a lot of discussion, but quite a bit of discussion on the vision and dental plans. There was a dollar figure put in, and they're doing a little bit of money. They're going to make the offer for retainment of employees. They're thinking that that's going to be a bigger issue to them. So they're going to add a dental and a vision amount, and it's like $5 for the vision. Get that right. Right to the right page. Yeah, on the vision, they did $5 per month, and they did $15 on the dental. That was it for me last week. This week, tonight I have daycare. And then we have the town hall at Arcadia on the jail presentation. Tuesday, Marty and I have a meeting here in the morning, and then we have a jail presentation in Templeton. Wednesday, we are in Breda, and Manning on Thursday. And that is it for me for this week. Okay. Thank you, Rich.
What is your meeting with Marty regarding?
The airport.
The airport.
Green light. Lauren Dan, and Lisa Attorney. Okay, that, Dean?
I had a Conservation Board meeting on Monday night. Mostly updates on the Sauk Rail Trail Morehouse Ready Mix. The trail resurfacing grant application had been submitted. Great Western Park Shower House project is mostly complete. Swan Lake Internet. Western Iowa Networks is going to be going east of Swan Lake there.
210, 250.
Yeah, and so they're going to be very close. So they're going to look at what it's going to cost to provide internet service to the park. And then probably the biggest discussion, and these are revenue needs for future projected projects discussion, and I think this is something that Jason's been thinking about for a long time, and I think it's starting with the cabin on the north side, and trying to, and with the success of it and the success of the campground, trying to cash flow more improvements with the park. And I'll pass this around. These are some of the ideas that he has come up with, and this, what I have here, second, is a study that he did. The most important pages in this study would be the back two. It would be different counties throughout the state and how they handle revenue and county contributions. Some of them are, the supervisors only provide $20,000 annually, and the rest is the parks are run off of revenues from from campground, camping sites, and from facilities that they have that they rent out. So I think they're heading in a direction, if they could be more self-sufficient, that's the goal that they would like to go. And and I think it's a good goal. I think, if they don't have to count on the county for dollars, more power to them. That was basically the Conservation Board meeting. Had the candidate forum on Wednesday night, and that was my week. And this week I have nothing. So.
Neil?
Okay, last week on Monday, I had the radio and newspapers, and on Wednesday, of course, we all attended the candidate forum, and I also had a jail tour for the local businesses, which was not very well attended on Wednesday afternoon. However, one person, Adam, who's voiced against the jail due to the location, I asked him, I go, Adam, is there any reason other than aesthetic reasons that you don't want the jail attached to the courthouse? I was trying to be fair to my self-indemnable, and he says, no, that's it. And the reason I bring this up is that same day I got a phone call from somebody who also thought we should relocate it. And he was under the impression that the county supervisor had decided that this is where it's going to be, period, and went from there. And apparently this person, well-meaning person, didn't understand that we had looked at all of the alternatives, including remodeling the current jail, locating other places, and I think we have to make it clear to people that are against the jail for aesthetic reasons that they certainly have their point of view, but by granting their aesthetic reasons, if we would locate it somewhere else, we would have increased long-term cost and we'd have decreased safety. I could go into great depth, but I think that we need to make it clear that we did look at all alternatives going into this, that we hired experts to help us out, and that we didn't decide to have it here and then try to support our argument. We decided that this is the best location, and the main reasons is for the long-term operation and also for the best safety. Okay. On Thursday night, I also had the Region 12 meeting with Marty and Rich, and Rich went over most of it. There's just a couple things I'm going to point out. One, that they have $267,000 in their health insurance, and this is just sitting there. They were self-funded at one time, and they may go back to self-funding, so they're sitting on this money. So I want you to be aware of that, right or wrong. There it is. They also have $550,000 or a little more than that in their Region 5 Developmental Corporation as far as money, and this is quite a bit, and the reason is that they have some loan commitments that are not yet dispersed, so that was justified in that respect. During the executive director's report, he's going a lot to electronic signatures on a lot of their things. Promissory notes and mortgages would still have to have original signatures, but saving a lot of money apparently using electronic signatures. Quite a few other things, but Rich has done a good job of covering everything else that I was going to talk about, so thank you, Rich. This week, today, this evening, we have the entire board is invited to Arcadia, where they're having a jail talk. On Tuesday evening is Templeton. On October 17th, I want to remind everybody that has got the flu shot, that they have a free flu shot they can get. On Wednesday also, I have the Coalition Human Services meeting. On Thursday afternoon, I have the Audubon Guthrie Green Governance Board meeting with Human Services. And Thursday evening, go to Manning to talk about the jail. That's my meeting.
Okay.
This week.
Thanks. Dean?
Last week, Monday, went to the city council meeting in Carroll here, and then on Wednesday, I had to sign papers out of new opportunities for a grant. I went to the candidate forum on Wednesday night. That was my week last week. This week, I've got the newspaper and the radio program. We've got the meeting tonight in Arcadia. And Tuesday, we will have a meeting out at Carroll Coolers for the Spirit of Excellence Award that CADC is doing, and then we'll have a town hall meeting in Templin on Tuesday night and Wednesday. I am going to be in Des Moines at ISAC for a meeting that we're trying to set up CEUs for supervisors. This is the first meeting that we've had on this, so we're working on that down there on that, and then the flu shot on Wednesday. But then we also have a town hall in Breda on Wednesday night and Thursday. Town hall meeting in Manning, and then Friday, Cherokee for the Yes Center. That'll be my that week, this next week.
Thank you, Gene. Last Monday evening, had the Wesco board meeting over in Denison. The first item of discussion was our bake shop. We closed up September 28th, and the reason we closed it, it was losing money. And basically, we had a group of people from the downtown area in Denison wanted to keep the bake shop open, so we're looking at reopening it in November. This group is looking at putting together some funds in the tune of about $20,000 to reopen the bake shop, and they're looking at making this a 2-year commitment. In the past, we've lost anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 a month, so we're going to try to reopen it and just see with the support from the downtown merchants. Hopefully, we can keep that back, get it back on track. We did assign a new treasurer. We had somebody resign here about a month ago, so we did appoint Donna Lyons as the new treasurer for the Wesco board. Then we went down to the supported employment program. Janice Wilkins, she heads that program in Denison. She gave us an update. Basically, what the supported employment program does is works with the businesses throughout Denison. We work with like Fairway Grocery Store, work with farmland to do cleaning, and other businesses where we put clients from Wesco in those places, and that way they can kind of get back into the workforce. Brenda Zamago is the new Adult Day Services Coordinator. She talked a little bit about a new program that's coming out with the Iowa Department of Education. It's basically a 5-year grant in the tune of about $100,000, and for the first 3 years, $75,000 for the last 2 years. And what this is a school program to bring kindergarten or preschool through 5th graders in and kind of work or come in with the adult day services clients and kind of mingle with them and kind of give them an opportunity to work with the both programs. So that was pretty, and then on Stepping Stones over in Vale currently, we have 7 clients that are on a waiting list there. And then, let's see, on Wednesday night, we had the forum, and then Thursday night, we had the Region 12 Executive Board meeting first. One of the items that we looked at there was reviewing the certificate